All right, real quick. If you've ever yelled at your phone like, man, why nobody ever talks about this? Congratulations. This podcast is for you. Welcome to the People's Voice, DC, where the city finally gets the mic. And now, this ain't one of those podcasts where everybody sounds smart, but nobody actually saying anything. We talk real life, DC life. The kind of conversations you have after work, on the metro, or when the group chat gets serious out of nowhere. Yeah, we talk politics, but don't worry. Nobody yelling over each other, nobody reading off cue cards, and definitely nobody pretending they got it all figured out. We're talking housing, money, schools, mental health, culture, faith, purpose, relationships, basically all the stuff that actually affects your life, but somehow never gets explained right. This podcast is powered by Rising Voices of Politics and founded by Reverend Michael Campbell. But listen, you don't gotta be a politician, a preacher, or an expert in nothing to belong here. If you got opinion, questions, or just a story to tell, you already qualify. And the energy, chill, honest, a little funny. Sometimes deep, sometimes light, but always real. Catch us live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on YouTube and social media. Miss it? Cool. It drops the same night at risingvoicesdc.org, and you can listen anytime on Spotify. So whether you're outside, inside, commuting, procrastinating, or just tired of podcasts that don't sound like you, tap in, tune in, laugh a little, learn something. This is the People's Voice, DC, where the conversations make sense. The people are real. And yeah, we might even say what you've been thinking.
A few years back when I ran for office, I did a poll,
Yeah.
a local poll, not on anybody's budget, not not on anybody, not on anybody's funds or anything.
Oh, the PTSD.
No shade,
Yeah.
but not on anybody's funds. But I did a poll, and I was trying to just get to learn my Latino X community a little bit better.
Sure.
So what's most important for them? And the number one thing that came up, this was 4 years ago,
Right.
was environmental justice.
Yeah.
And I was completely surprised.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is very important, not only to the Latino X community, but the poll for younger voters between 18 and 25. Environmental justice was at the top of the list.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at some of your plans, some of the things you're talking about,
Yeah.
more so criticizing, should I say, but being honest about.
Yeah.
DC residents continue to live with polluted air, plastic
Absolutely.
waste, and waterways burdened by decades of neglect. East of the river face higher exposure to heat, flooding, and environmental hazards while receiving fewer protective investments. Children,
Right.
and I know this to be true, suffer from asthma
Yeah.
and respiratory illness linked to unhealthy housing, while public dollars are spent treating illness instead of preventing
Yeah.
it. We must be proactive and not reactive.
Absolutely.
The district allows new fossil fuel infrastructure that locks residents into higher costs and long-term harm. Funds meant to lower energy bills and improve health have been diverted away from their purpose, delaying progress and breaking trust.
Right.
Climate change is already affecting daily life, but the response remains uneven, slow, and disconnected from the communities most impacted. Talk about your views, your thoughts, and your plans on our environmental justice.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate you reading that in totality, because we have laws that supposed to address these things, but without enforcement and with making every laxed opportunity for a big developer, we're just betraying ourselves. We saw 2 stadium projects, whether it's the one at RFK or the one that kept the Wizards and Commanders in DC, completely sideswipe environmental protections. We're talking about cutting out heritage streets. We're talking about not making sure that they're using renewable energy. And they're on, especially RFK, is right off the Anacostia River. I mean, we're talking about polluting the very water that a lot of most of the seniors live by. Or we're talking about this bottle bill. I mean, Councilmember Brianna Doe is introducing a bottle bill that will allow people to get money back when they dispose of their cans and bottles, which is supposed to reduce our pollution. And if you drive through Suitland Parkway, you see all that stuff. Walk down the street in Ward 7, you see bottles over the ground. And it doesn't have to be that way. Number one, it'll incentivize people to keep their bottles in their house. But number two, we'll create another economy where people who are maybe experiencing homelessness, young kids that want a couple of dollars, to start picking up these bottles. Right. So rather than using DC taxpayer dollars to clean this up, we'll have our own incentive to keep our communities clean. But also holistically, we only have one planet. I'm not going to Mars with Elon Musk. I'm not going to Jupiter with Jeff Bezos. I'm staying here on planet Earth. Right. So we have a responsibility to ourselves, to our kids, to keep this planet secure. And what we're doing by choosing big development over our environment is ridding us of our own world, right? And we're seeing things like on Anacostia, they're trying to do development over there. I'm very concerned about it. I don't want the Anacostia Park to become the next wharf, become the next national harbor, to be the next scene of high cost riverfront townhouses and condos that people in Ward 8 can't afford. We need things that's people around the community can take part in, can enjoy, but definitely not remove our green space, because that, for many people, that's the last green space we have. Outside the Arboretum, that's the biggest thing we got. And if we sell that out to commercial interest and organizations that aren't even American, then we'll only have ourselves to blame for it. So environmental justice is very important to me. I believe we need to do better by folks who live in Section 8, do better by folks who live in affordable housing, to make sure the housings are in code, make sure there's not a lot of mold and other toxins, to make sure that kids are given the best chance to develop healthy lungs, because childhood lung diseases carry them through life and decrease that life expectancy as you mentioned earlier. It is not just for low income people; it's also for the rest of folks. I was in a really bad car accident a year and a half ago. I'm not sure if you remember October.
I remember.
I was in a hit and run. I was driving a small car. I was crashed into by GNC Yukon. Right, car drove away. I was actually in UMC Hospital, which is another story for another day. And then the next day I was in Georgetown. I was transported over there. And long story short, upon leaving the hospital, they recommended I get physical therapy. There were no physical therapists in Ward 8. There were no physical therapy options in Ward 7. The only option I had was going to Ward 2. But with traffic, I-95, lack of parking, I didn't have a car. The best option for me was going to Hyattsville. Wow. And because I didn't have a car, I had to pay for an Uber there, pay for an Uber back.
Wow.
That was about $40, $50, sometimes $60 a day. Not to mention, I didn't have enough time off of work to continue doing that before I stopped getting paid. So I had to stop my physical therapy before I needed to, so I can go back to work and find someone close to me. I reduced my recovery time to be able to make money. And this is a pharmacist. This is the U.S. representative. This is not like somebody who did. I knew everything. I still had no options. That's the difference between living in Ward 7, Ward 8, and living in Ward 1 and Ward 2. If you live in Ward 2, there's 3 hospitals in throwing distance. Ward 7 doesn't have an emergency room. I know we're going to talk about Fletcher Johnson. In Ward 8, UMC sunsetted at the same time as Cedar Hill opened up. There was no overlap.
Right.
And when there's no overlap, there's no opportunity to learn. There's no opportunity for folks to transition their care. I'm a pharmacist at the Giant in Congress Heights, and I had patients who didn't even know UMC was closing.
Right.
They showed up because they haven't heard, and they realized their hospital's closed down. And then I'm like, how come you haven't gotten your medications in 3 months? I don't have a doctor. We're seeing too many people fall between the cracks, and it affects every single person. I know I'm more likely to not live to be 90 years old because I live in Ward 8. That's not right. And that's not fair. And that's part of the reason why I have so much energy, because this is not just hypothetical. This is also my life too.
Right.
And there's too many people like you and me going through these. And we have to be tougher than the rest, but we shouldn't have to be so tough living in DC. And I'm really fighting to make sure that it's just not so tough, whether you live in Ward 1 or Ward 8, 7 or 2, making sure we all have the same opportunity to live with dignity.
Sounds good to me. Now,
Yeah.
Dr. Oye, I know our time is coming.
Oh, should I talk too much?
Sure. No.
Let's
It's been a great, healthy conversation. So,
Thank you.
but I know you have a busy schedule. But if you could just give us about 10 or 15 more minutes,
Yeah.
uh,
do it.
closer to the 10. I know. You know.
Let's do it. No,
You know,
you
preachers
can-
do. You know.
Pass the mic to you. I'll be here. Talk to me.
But there's a few more issues.
Yeah.
And first, I want to get to exactly which you already kind of have already brought up, and that I want to talk about is this issue with Fletcher Johnson. And I thought I had it set up for us, ready to go. I know I had it beforehand. Here we go. So yeah, here's an email from the market director, Miss Susan LaRosa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Miss Susan. You know, I will put you out there. But thank you for your email regarding the timeline for the Fletcher Johnson FED. We are experiencing unexpected delays related to demolition.
Right.
And the FED is expected to open at the end of 2028, beginning of 2029. This isn't just a couple of months.
Right.
This isn't a year. This is more.
Right.
This is ridiculously more.
Right.
Ward 7, east of the river, we have been waiting forever for this. We have been talking about the development of the parks at Fletcher Johnson forever.
Right.
This is an ongoing, consistent problem in our city. Is things that our people need. It seems like the city's leadership take their time on.
Yeah.
Things that our people need. It seems like there's always some type of delay. There's always some type of wrinkle. All of a sudden, it can't get funded this year. As a council member, as an at-large council member, how will you fix this? These problems? Like, how will you hold, number one, your colleagues accountable?
Sure. Healthcare justice is a critical issue to me. I mean, upon joining the council, I would be the only first pharmacist, healthcare worker, and probably first east of the river at-large council member at least 5, 6, 7, 8 years to be at that table. And it's really important to have an at-large council member from east of the river because we don't have geographic boundaries. We can have conversations in Ward 2, Ward 3, and beyond, and bring it back to 7 and 8, as we mentioned earlier. And when it comes to accountability, there's nothing like walking those streets on a daily basis. You know, I live in Ward 8, and we didn't have a council member for 6 months. And every at-large council member said they were going to hold down Ward 8. They were going to come to Ward 8 every week. They will make sure our needs are met. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. We had a town hall for maybe each one of them. One of the council members made a couple site visits at some apartments. But when you don't walk these streets, when you don't use that grocery store, when you don't sprain an ankle and realize you have nowhere to go because you live east of the 95, then your perspective isn't this perspective. And I'm thinking about the seniors that lost their CVS on Branch Avenue in Ward 7. And they were told, don't worry about it. You can go to Skyland. Skyland to the residents to rise up for this issue. We know what happens in other parts of this country when they start complaining, things start moving. And what we're seeing right now is a consequence of maybe some conversations begin and end in Ward 7. Maybe some people speak in a church, but they're not able to take that conversation to an oversight hearing. And when you have someone that lives this side of the river that knows healthcare, it makes a huge difference, because it's not just going to be on the Trayon Ways or the Wendell Felders to handle these conversations by themselves. That's 2 votes out of 13. But having an at-large council member who can shake the pot, who can step over boundaries, step into any neighborhood and say, we need equity, is worth its weight in gold.
Yes.
It's worth everything. Because as a healthcare worker, ain't nobody gonna tell me more than me about this. I've talked to the mayor, I've talked to certain council members, and we talked bar for bar, and I haven't even looked at legislation. This is my life. This is my life's work. So they can't tell me more than what I've been doing for 12 years as a pharmacist, not only living in Ward 8, but working in Ward 8, working in Ward 7, touching these streets and knowing exactly what needs to be done. So not only will we bring the accountability, but we also can name the price of what should be happening, and we can move everything in the right direction, because there's going to be very few people that have the experience that I have that will disagree with me.
Right.
We're talking about, I know with Dr. Jalon Burton, she's a healthcare worker in Ward 7 turning away Medicaid because it doesn't pay enough, doesn't pay often enough. Sometimes they miss their payments, and she just can't survive on it. So she'd rather take a couple of dollars from someone privately and work it out with them versus even going through the whole Medicaid situation. That's why we have fewer pharmacies and physical therapists and advanced care people, because in Ward 2 and Ward 3, where they have fewer Medicaid patients because it's income-based, they're willing to deal with it on an ongoing basis when it comes up. But if you're Cedar Hill Hospital, if you're Fletcher Johnson in Ward 7, and people losing their Medicaid and all those things, you might have to shutter your business because you can't thrive off of it. We need to do better. We need to have better outcomes. We need to make sure we're not concentrating worse outcomes in Ward 7, Ward 8, because it's easy to do so.
I appreciate the fact that you can hear someone's response and know if it was rehearsed. So I appreciate that you genuinely care.
Yeah.
That it definitely means something to you. Let me tell you, the guy has been working hard as a DC rep. And in case you guys didn't know, this is one of the positions in elected office that you just don't get paid. So
not even just get paid. So, you don't get paid nowhere. You're at the bottom of the totem pole, but but more importantly, like, people like you show me it's not about counting your time, it's about making that time count.
Yes.
And I've been blessed with relationships and the coalitions behind the work that we've done. Nothing that I've done in office is based off of how good I am or how smart I am. It has everything to do with people like you calling me up, like, hey, do this next expungement clinic at Marshall Heights. There's people over there. Do this business seminar to teach folks how to do this. Bring the government into the room so they can see 100 Black people talking about business. Not talking about who got shot, not talking about the Wizards game yesterday, talking about straight business.
Yes.
Because it's really you guys that made this office go. It was me that just smiled for the picture and had the occasional bad idea. Like, all the bad things that happened, blame on me. All the good things that happened, contribute that to the people like you, Pastor David, like folks who really cared about making this work have impact.
Right. I love it. So the last thing I want to definitely focus on, but definitely not the least, is Oye fights for housing.
Yeah.
Dr. Oye believes ending homelessness is impossible. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, don't misquote
that.
Hey, man.
I don't believe that either. I don't believe that either.
Hey. That's Trump speaking. Don't get me out.
It might be something with me being forced to drink this Starbucks. But Oye believes ending homelessness is possible and urgent. He'll partner closely with the great The Way Home campaign and organizations led by people with lived experience to advance to a true housing first approach.
Right.
Dr. Oye
Mhm.
opposes encampment sweeps and
Right.
criminalization that destabilize people and undermine housing efforts. He will stop the pipeline into homelessness by fully funding ERAP. Let me say this again. By fully funding ERAP, because it seems like every year ERAP has like $400 and that's it.
Yeah.
As soon as 3 people need help, they're dry.
Yeah.
You know, but pairing it with a right to counsel,
Yeah.
love that. Protecting renters during temporary crises, raising wages, expanding social housing, and supporting expungement and reentry so people can stabilize. Those that know me know that I am a big supporter of the council member Janice Lewis George's Green New Deal. So I'm definitely a big supporter of social housing. I think it would do so much for us. He will strengthen landlord participation by guaranteeing faster payments, reducing administrative barriers, and expanding partnerships with mission-driven housing providers. I just wanted to read that last part, that he will strengthen landlord participation.
Right.
Oftentimes it is kind of thought of that it has to be this type of either or mentality.
Right.
And I wish that we as a people would get away from that. We can create a DC where those who are developers, those who have put the time, the work in, who had aim of becoming entrepreneurs, of building housing, they can thrive, they can succeed in DC without being landlords that suck.
Right.
I don't know how to put it. Without allowing our buildings to decay. We all know that I'm from Potomac Gardens, where even to this day our buildings are ridiculous. And I mean, 10, 15 years ago when I was living there, the buildings were ridiculous. So and 10, 15 years before that, before I was there, when my grandparents were there, and my aunts and my mom was there, like the buildings were ridiculous. So I'm talking about a 45, 50-year period where it's been the same rat infestation. Like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to make this succeed to where the landlord can prosper and the tenant could have a safe, healthy environment to live?
Yeah, so you asked me a very nuanced question, and I want to first preface it by saying, if elected, I'll probably be the cheapest council member ever. I hate spending extra money. I go to MGM and I go to the front because they give you free soda. That's what I drink. I preface it to say it like this: it costs a fraction of the money to keep somebody in housing than it is to get someone from homelessness into housing. The by and large, and I'm very, what upsets me is when they called people who live in encampments unhoused. They have a home. It's in the tent.
Right.
Their items are there. They have their paperwork in there. They have childhood pictures in there. That is their home. So when Trump and when the mayor allowed the National Guard to decamp these places, you were literally evicting people from their homes. It was so immoral. And when we didn't explain it to that level, we didn't give people the dignity that they deserved. Now, the Rental Act, the act that took away so many people's rental rights, their TOPA rights, was an absolute abomination. It was something that took an existing problem and it added a giveaway to the billionaire class. There's a huge issue in this city. People are unable to pay their rent. But we've divested in ERAP. We allowed tens of thousands of federal jobs to be disappeared and didn't support folk. But rather than addressing people's ability to pay rent, they took away people's rental rights. We have to restore people's rental rights because just about 10, 15 years ago, when people were developing in this city and investing in this city, they still had their rental rights.
And I'm going to interject. I'm going to let you finish, but I'm going to interject and just remind everyone that the champion and main author of the one who of the Rental Act is also the one who's running to represent our city in Congress, and that's Councilmember Robert White. I don't want Dr. Oh yeah, I know he's
Sure.
but it's our organization's job is to inform the people, educate the people, and let you know exactly what's going on. And it's something that we heavily opposed, something that we voted on in our organization to oppose, that we are not supporters of. There were amendments to it that we did support, that we are happy that did pass. But overall, we were not supportive of the Rental Act. And so we want that to be on the minds of our listeners, who support what, who introduced what, who voted for what. And so I wanted that to be known. But you can go right
No,
ahead.
I understand, and I believe the mayor was also involved with,
Of course.
with introducing the Rental Act as well. But when it comes to people's ability to pay rent, I get it. Landlords need to be paid. The majority of homes are owned by single owner, that's their investment property. We need to make sure that folks get paid. And also, in my heart of hearts, I believe the people who are behind on their rent want to pay their rent.
Mhm.
I don't believe there's too many people that's hiding behind the laws and trying to get out and take advantage of it. We can't have that. But the vast majority of people want to pay their rent. They just can't. If it comes to food, if it comes to their kids, if it comes to surviving, and then rent is just the albatross around their neck, they want that off. I believe in ERAP. I also believe in getting people high-paid careers. I know folks that in an international development scene, believe it or not, that's running around in Manhattan, trying to find an opportunity to develop their business. Bring it to DC. We have people from USAID that were laid off. We have people in the State Department that are laid off. We have people re-entering from prison, from military, going back to work because they're seniors. They can thrive over here.
Right.
We just need to have the wherewithal. We need to come up with the innovation. We need to have the space to say, hey, if you're willing to hire 20, 30, 40,000 people in DC, we'll make it easy for you to do it. Because that's how you build up the grassroots. That's how you help someone who's been behind on their rent to have a job that they can now afford to pay it with dignity. That's how you get these landlords paid for the investment they're making in DC. And in my opinion, if people are paying their rents in DC at a higher rate, a sustainable rate, all of those developers who are afraid of coming to DC will say, you know what? We know we get our ROI. That's how we build solutions that are fair to everybody. But we can't do it by choosing the corporates and developers and saying, damn to those who can't afford it. No, we can't turn our back on those who've been living in DC for the past 20, 30, 40 years, say you're on your own. That's not fair. They built DC.
Yes.
They deserve to stay in DC. And you're talking about these grandparents who don't have that high earning potential. That's when we invest in their kids, making them become scientists. So as we fall short as a government, I know there's somebody in that house that can be making six figures that can take care of all of this.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
That if someone's displaced, they can move in with their kids who now live in DC.
Yes.
That's how we rebuild the nation's capital. That's how we keep a little bit of that chocolate back in Chocolate City. And more importantly, that's how we look back at this legislation, be proud of what we've done, not try to hide when we go to communities that are hardest hit by displacement. That's maybe part of the reason why them at-large council members weren't coming to Ward 8. They were afraid to face the music. But I'm born in that music. I live in that music.
Yes.
And I'm willing to keep things accountable because I know if I don't do right, Pastor Mike will be over here having an episode about me. I don't need that. I need to make sure at the end of the day, even if we don't get it right every single time, that our heart is there and that we can stand on what we're doing. And if we need to be corrected, we can be humble enough to be corrected. Yes. I'm not an expert in everything. I know healthcare, but if there's something like homelessness or housing insecurity, I may lean on Pastor Mike and say, hey, man, I need help with this. I may have to leave that door open, like, Pastor Mike, man, I need you to write this last line of this legislation. Not only because it means that he's involved with it, it means that he can't protest it, but also because I don't know everything. I don't know what it's like to be in DC for 30, 40 years. I don't know what it's like to have grandparents here in the district. I need y'all to help me just as much as I need y'all to vote. Because this is not just a one-day vote on June 15th thing. This is what can you help us together make the next 10, 15 years of DC look like? That's what this campaign is about.
Thank you for being one who thinks about us, as we say, Washingtonians.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we feel like plans are being made for those who are planning to come or who just arrived,
Yeah.
as opposed to those of us who have actually been here and, as you said, built this city.
Built it.
Not we may not have literally laid a brick, but our tax dollar sure has gone towards
Hey.
so much.
Certainly.
And trust me, I thought I made a decent salary until the taxes came out.
My thing is no ring on it. I can't afford it.
One time I did overtime on a job, and I was like, "This is surely going to be great." It's really no difference.
Yeah, a couple $100. You're like, man, that was 10 hours, man.
Taxes will change your mind on a lot of things,
Yeah.
especially OT.
It's serious. It's serious.
Well, I want to just do a plug in about our organization really
Yeah.
quickly. Don't forget about our book club, people. Join us for reading the latest award-winning and mind-stimulating books. We have bi-weekly meetings. You can email us. You can text us. You can visit us on our website. But we have a book club. We believe that we want to bring back that tradition of coming together and reading books and talking about them. You can learn so much just by coming together and discussing what you read in a book. We don't always read books that are like these educational nonfiction. Sometimes we read fiction books, and it might take us on a journey, and it might give us some perspectives on things. And so, hey, look, if you're interested, reach out, talk to us, join the meeting for our book. Before I let you leave, I want to ask you your opinion on one last thing.
Talk to me.
Our DC police chief, who was also a co-laborer in the ministry,
Sure.
has resigned amid homicide data manipulation investigation by our Republican-led Congress, should I say?
Right.
We've seen the headlines where she said respectfully, "F you," and she forgive you.
Right.
Whew, almost Christ-like. Halfway.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely understand where she's coming from and some of her personal feelings, some things
Sure.
that she's had to endure. As a council member,
Yeah.
what would you look for in a new DC police chief? How would you address the allegations
Yeah.
of data manipulation,
Sure.
which I don't believe to be totally untrue,
Okay.
but I also don't believe to have just started at the command of our police chief.
Sure. Data manipulation is definitely a serious accusation. It deserves an investigation, not only in times when the investigation is being called upon, but just in general when it comes to, what we call faith in our police force
Right.
and law enforcement. But I also made it a point to make a statement in thanking Chief Smith.
Yes.
This was not an easy job. We're talking about a president who's flimsy as all hell,
Yes.
who threatened to take over every little thing. And even in a police chief who wants to stay apolitical, it was impossible to do in DC. That's not a state. The president did a National Guard takeover just because a kid got jumped. He is demonizing our mayor at every moment space and threatening to take out our home rule. I mean, earlier this year, I went to Utah to basically protest the Bowser Act, called the Bowser Act, which is basically going to take away our ability to elect our mayor and our council. I went to Senator Lee, who was the introducer. I went to his backyard in Salt Lake City, talked to his voters, talked to his legislators on the local level, and talked to the media. Because we don't believe in just crying over here. If you mess up in my house, I'm going to go to your house and mess things up too. And that's what we did. And I think that as a city, we had this fight for ourselves. I'm fighting for our chief. I want to make sure that a Black woman is not maligned by a racist president. And I'm willing to call him a racist because that's what he is. And I think it's important that we have leadership that stands on business and stands on that. So yes, I want to make sure our new chief, like we had Newsom in the past, had Conte, and then Smith, is somebody that's also in the community. I've seen Pam Smith at at the Washington Mystics game. I'll tell you a story. I was like sitting courtside because my friends got me some tickets, and she was walking by. She wasn't wearing her uniform. She was wearing a hoodie and she was with some friends. You know how you like say somebody's name but not loud, so if she don't know you, you ain't embarrassed. but like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yes, that's Pam Smith. And she looked at me. She had no idea who I was and still said hi.
Wow.
And I think that's important to have folks who don't let the job get to their head.
Yes.
They don't have the ego. They're personable. And knowing that she's a woman of faith, knowing that she's somebody who's well-grounded, knowing somebody who took over at a really bad time.
Ooh, tough time.
And still
Yes.
led us with honor, I think is important. Like I said, the allegations are serious. There are some people in the police force that claimed that the place was not to their liking. That some of them predated Chief Smith, some of them with Chief Smith, and I know the police union has been very active in talking about the data and statistics. But at the same time, we had a president who said that our 30-year low was not factual. But when he took over, talked about how safe he made it. So he likes his cake and eat it too. And we have to not allow politics to cloud our judgment.
Right.
At the same time, police is not the only answer in terms of public safety.
Yes.
It's empowering people like you. Is maintaining houselessness. Is making sure people have food. Make sure people are literate.
And that's actually what I appreciated about Chief Smith.
Absolutely.
Is that she didn't approach policing as just traditional.
How many people you lock up? That's not the solution.
Yeah, you know, one of the first things she did when she took over, within the first 30 days, I was invited to a faith leader circle.
Yeah.
You know, and so she really cared about the community. She was always in the community.
Yeah.
And as you just stated, it wasn't a let's lock everybody up and scare the hell out of everybody approach. It was like you're trying to get to your own campaign. How is this stuff happening? Is it their housing? Is it their education? What can we do as a police force to better them in their life overall? And also, how can we start creating better relationships with our community? And so I definitely appreciate that. And I hate the way she went out. Really.
Absolutely. But we also have to remind everybody, this White House is attacking Black women. They attacked former Vice President Kamala Harris. They still attack her.
Yeah.
They attacked Letitia James in New York. They attacked that board of governor for the FEC or somebody, like they were trying to say she had mortgage fraud. Yeah. Like they just attack Black women. They when they when they got rid of these federal jobs, a lot of them were filled by Black women. Some of them are the primary breadwinner of their household. So you're affecting the entire family. They are warring against Black women. And I'm not going to allow them to make Chief Smith or former Chief Smith their newest target. We have to fight back. We may not agree on everything. She may not have voted for me, but we have to fight for Black women, especially those locally. Because if we turn our back on Black women and Black women leaders, then where are our values? Especially as Black men who are running for office. They're attacking Mayor Bowser. Like, we have to fight for them. We may disagree on things. We might disagree on absolutely everything.
Right.
But as DC's representative, I'm fighting for them because they are the ones that break the glass ceiling for the next Black woman in uniform want to become a chief. Is she going to say, well, if I get this job, maybe the president's going to attack me on my way out, forcing me to resign early? Or if I become a Black female mayor, do I have to deal with a racist president? They need to make sure they have backup. And I'm here as a backup.
That's right. That's right. I love it. Man, you know, I encourage everyone to definitely check out Dr. Oye. I've known my brother for some years now. I can actually say that. I can actually say that. Like, it's
going back.
Wow. You know, the time flies in DC politics. But yeah, brother, I just wanted to give you the last word.
Absolutely.
And tell people how they can support you, how they can reach out to you. And then we're going to go ahead and close out the show.
Absolutely. And as you can see, we are a people-driven campaign, but it doesn't mean I'm anti-business. It doesn't mean I'm anti-wealthy person. But I do what I do for the folks who can't wait for good legislation to come their way. Whether I win or lose, Jeff Bezos is going to be fine. Elon Musk is going to be fine. The billionaires living in DC going to be fine. But I do this for the people who can't afford to have bad leadership. Folks living in Ward 1, the Latinx community, who's concerned about ICE collaborating with MPD. The Ward 8 resident who's afraid of being pushed out to Oxon Hill and all these other locations. Talking about the business owners who are seeing their margin decrease because their business rent is getting higher and higher and higher, and they don't think anyone's paying attention to that. We're talking about not only freezing rent for people living in homes, but also for businesses that have been here for the past 10, 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. I know hairdressers who've rent gone from $2,000-$3,000 a month to now having new ownership of the building, charge them $10,000 a month. These things affect our affordability. These things affect our culture, and it's really important to have leadership that's pointing this out and making a difference. You can follow me at vote4oye.com, vote number 4 OYE.com. Our social media is also Rep OYEDC, REPOYEDC. But more importantly, if you live in DC, go outside, because I probably won't be too far from. We're really trying to, not only win this race, but really change the way the city is being run. The election day is on June 15th, 2026. Please vote for me. Please rank me number 1, because we have ranked choice voting, and we also have mail-in ballot opportunities as well. But again, rank me number 1. Don't rank me number 5. Rank me number 1, because it matters to do it that way. But most importantly, I've been really privileged through life. Wasn't the richest, solidly middle income, but my life's mission was to extend that privilege and create new opportunities for those that look like me, come from these backgrounds, those who don't look like me, but also need that leg up. We're really trying to make a campaign for all people and really making people powered by having your input, having your support, but more importantly, having your vision and your direction, because this is your seat, not mine.
I love it. I love it. We thank you, Doctor, for joining the show. And I just want to say before I leave, hey, look, if you want to catch me on this Friday night, listen, shout out to Ward 8. Shout out to Today's Pizza. I will be in the new location of Today's Pizza right in Southeast DC, where there is all minority owned at Sycamore and Oak. See you Friday night at Today's Pizza. I can't wait to get some type of shrimp something on my pizza. See you later. Goodbye.
Squad boys. Hey. Down. I'm gonna get hit with that Rigo. Bow. Fight.
Niggas switched up on me, tried to snake me, hit me with that Rigo.
Bow. Rigo.
Dirty swiper, dirty Taliban, I hang with dirty Migos. Dirty swipe, I'm way too trifling, I might just go nut an amigo. She a slut, she gon' fuck for a kilo. Just look at me now, bitch, I started from zero. Friendly neighborhood hero. I do this shit for my people. The shit that I do is illegal. Squad boy, I fly like an eagle. Niggas hating, just know that I see you. Don't let the look, I get to see you. Oh, murder, I don't see no evil. So my blood brother, bro, I bleed you. Niggas fight over bitches like Nicki. To be honest, that shit just don't fit me. If I fuck, then bro fucking her with me. That's your man, but he playing you 50. Unless that bitch look like Rihanna. Then I fucking you fuck her tomorrow. She gon' go, she gon'
In a city known around the world for power, there's another kind of strength that rarely makes the headlines. It lives in our neighborhoods, in our families, in the stories we carry, the struggles we overcome, and the hope we refuse to let go of. This is The People's Voice, DC, a podcast presented by Rising Voices of Politics, an organization committed to uplifting community voices and building people-powered change from the ground up. Founded by Reverend Michael Campbell, this space was created to honor conversation, connection, and the belief that every voice carries value. Yes, we talk politics because policies shape our daily lives. But this podcast is about more than politics. It's about community, about faith and purpose, about culture, creativity, and healing, about parenting, mental health, justice, resilience, and what it truly means to show up for one another. Here, parents, workers, organizers, artists, leaders, and everyday residents come together to share real stories and real perspectives, without pretense, without fear, and without being talked over. We don't chase sound bites. We don't deal in division. We create space for honest dialogue, thoughtful reflection, and conversations that move us forward, as individuals and as a community. Because change doesn't only happen in council chambers or behind closed doors. It happens in living rooms, in classrooms, in faith spaces, in neighborhoods where people decide they care enough to speak up and listen. This podcast exists to inform, to inspire, and to remind us that our voices matter in every area of life. So whether you're here for insight, encouragement, challenge, or connection, welcome to the People's Voice, DC. Let's talk. Let's grow. Let's rise together. In a city known around the world for power, there's another kind of strength that rarely makes the headlines. It lives in our neighborhoods, in our families, in the stories we carry, the struggles we overcome, and the hope we refuse to let go of. This is The People's Voice, DC, a podcast presented by Rising Voices of Politics, an organization committed to uplifting community voices and building people-powered change from the ground up. Founded by Reverend Michael Campbell, this space was created to honor conversation, connection, and the belief that every voice carries value. Yes, we talk politics because policies shape our daily lives. But this podcast is about more than politics. It's about community, about faith and purpose, about culture, creativity,